Hey, there's some faces.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
I recognize those faces.
We do. And the names, yes.
Everybody has great cameras. Look at this. This is amazing. They worked out great.
Been there, done that.
Yes.
Yeah, with the
I love
COVID,
it.
we got used to being on camera.
That was great. All the family teams, family Zooms.
Yep.
I love it.
Did you do all the game playing? Did you guys like download those games? There were like some fun ones out there where it was totally interactive and you could do it online. And I was like, what an ingenious thought. Where were we for that one?
With families, you
Right.
can play games simultaneously with a family online.
Yeah, is it Gestures? Is that what it was? I'll have to go look it up. I have it somewhere, but it's online and everybody answers in, and there's a bunch of different ones. We actually did it with Tracy's group for one of the meetings that we had.
Oh, that's right, you did. That's exactly.
Yeah, it was really fun, and I think Justin brought it to us, and it was really, really fun. Totally points based. We got competitive. It was hysterical.
Kristen, do you know? Are we waiting for more people? Are you gonna?
So I have who I have left is let's see, Marie. Nope, you're there. I see you there. And I have Darcel, and I have Tina, and I have Lenola, and I have Tess. No, I don't have Tess. So Tess is the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm counting the screen. I'm not just like tapping on random things. We'll give her about 2 or 3 more minutes, and we can just begin and jump in. Oh,
There she is.
yay, it's Tess. Okay, the gang's all here. This is awesome.
Awesome.
I'm so excited. Okay, can everybody hear everybody speak?
Yeah.
Say hello.
Yes.
So
Hello.
everybody's
Hello.
voice. Awesome. Yay, this is
Yes.
excellent. So excited. Very good. Okay, well then we're just going to start. So welcome everybody. It's so great to have you here. And I know we have all talked on the phone and camera a couple of times since last week. But this is a really exciting event, and it's something to start bringing the community together. And we've really missed that with the agent meetings. And I thought this would be a really good way to connect with you. So, and again, I sent the questions out to everybody. It's going to be a discussion. It's not, somebody's answering one question and the other person's answering another. I would love to hear everybody's thoughts on a question. And if you have comments or questions for the person that said something, it's an idea sharing piece as well.
Okay.
So this is really just hanging out together and having a good discussion. And the idea came from a bunch of the great podcasts that I've been listening to, and just the fact that I miss our camaraderie. I miss our community, and it's so great to have everybody together. So, and I figured if we started this and put it out to the agent community, that it would become very viral very quickly, and everybody would want to be a part. So, so that's my goal. So I will send it over to Kim. And again, any discussion points you want to share, questions and things along those lines, I mean, speak up. This is all about you guys.
Well, hi guys. I think so. Many of you have been to an agent meeting before. If you haven't, just give me a little wave real quick for those who haven't been to an agent meeting. Okay. So that's great.
That's half. Wow.
You have been to one at least over the years, right? It's we just may not have been to your area. So it's like half and half. So that's really great. We totally missed that. It's been, the last one we did was November of 2019, right as COVID was kicking in Orlando. So this is going to be our alternative just for a bit until we can get the cadence of traveling and finding a great restaurant that will have 100 people. I think that's the hard part these days, and moving forward. So Kristen brought this idea to the surface. I'm like, that is a great idea. I don't know if any of y'all have listened to podcasts in the past, but when I walk the dogs, I'm listening to them just to kind of, I hear all kinds of different things. Like there's one on your health and body. There's one I listen to from a business perspective. And then there's Brene Brown. I don't know if anybody's listened to Brene Brown, but that's a very cool one too. So we thought we would try to take a little bit from them and work it into more of a discussion. So to start, could we do this so that we kind of get your background and bearings and know where everybody's coming from? We're not going to keep this too long, but could you do me a favor and let me know what we're going kind of around in the circle here? First name, last initial, and then whether or not you've had remote or virtual experience in the past, and then anything that you would like to share about experience as a virtual /gig /contractor that might be unique to what you've done and might be kind of resonate with what others are experiencing as well. So the most important part is don't state your last name, because this will go live all across the world, and people, I'm sending you love letters or things that. So if you could, and we'll start with Marie because she's on my camera, the first one to the right. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and some of your experiences as a contractor? Oh, I guess I need to unmute you, and that would be a technical difficulty that maybe you guys can walk me through, because I think, but we heard you, Marie. You might be muted on your side. Oh, I'll do this. How about try now?
She's muted now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, she's muted now. Okay, there we go.
Muted.
Waiting for the answer. It says, "Oh, okay." Is that you, Kristen?
Unmute.
It's unmuted now.
You got her unmuted.
There we go. I think she's good now. Can you try it now? No?
No.
So we need to bring out Gail Rigler's T-shirt that says you're on mute.
Huh.
Okay. You know what, Maria? Your system might be using or thinking about using another microphone. Like if you have a microphone.
Okay.
Christina,
So you
have that.
cannot hear me?
There,
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
hear
Can
you.
you hear me now?
Yeah, you're getting a little
Oh.
reverb though. So it sounds like it's coming from a couple of places.
I think we should
Can
all
you hear me
mute.
now?
We all need to mute so that she can hear her properly.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
You bet.
Okay, perfect. I'm showing like 4 ways of opening this camera. This is fancy. All right. So my name is Marie. My initial is a D. I am in the land of Chicago in Illinois. I've been a contractor since 2016. After working in the corporate world, having little children, you're like, okay, I need to do something from home. So I came through a lot of ideas. I met a lot of people, a lot of companies. As an entrepreneur, I started with Working Solution, and I tried out the StubHub project.
Oh, I know you're funny. That's okay. And you move forward, Marie.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, so I started with the first project. I loved it. And then I was like, oh, okay, so I can just continue working as a contractor because I could balance my family life and my work life. And then that produced other things that we can talk as we're discussing. So at this time, I'm happy that I'm working solution. I've been through a couple of clients here, and I'm a mother of 3 children. Now I can balance my family life and my work life.
Excellent. And Marie, you said that you came from directly from corporate life, then had children, and then jumped into a contractor role. Is that correct? Or did you
That
have
is
a
correct.
contracting role prior to working with us?
Before I started working with you, I was in the corporate world. So in the corporate world, what was happening, I was working like 30 minutes from my home. But when there's traffic, then it can take an hour. And my children at that time, they were in daycare, and I was getting to the daycare always late. It's always after the time where you have to pick up your kids. So what happened? They charge you extra. So I found myself like, I'm working to pay them. So why should I be using half of my income to pay the daycare because it's very expensive? So I'm like, okay, something happened, and I was like, I want to raise my children, so I want to stay home and try to figure out what I can do. I have knowledge, I have experience. There's a lot of things I can do from home. And while I was trying to figure out what can I do, I had a friend who was working with Working Solutions, and she says, "Hey, you can check out this one. I think it can work out while you're trying to figure out." And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I tried out, and it worked out good for me. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I hooked up since 2016.
Well, Marie, I think you'll find that a lot of people have a very similar story, and I'm glad you talked about the cost effectiveness or the return on the investment of daycare, because I think that happens a lot where people end up realizing daycare is so dang expensive. It's really not. I mean, basically, you're working for daycare.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, thanks, Marie. I appreciate it. And then we're going to go on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tina, how about you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, first name, initial, and
yeah,
where you're
happy to. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
All right. So, last initial R, and I live in Montana, in the northwest corner of Montana, right near Glacier National Park. I can see Glacier National Park as I drive into town from where I live. It's fabulous. And of course, this is a great option for me in terms of working. I believe I've been with Working Solutions for, I know it's at least 15 years, could be a little bit longer than that. Best thing I ever did. And the reason that I ended up with Working Solutions, again, I was in office work, and my forte is operations. That's what I did for a long time. And then I had to do other things because I moved from one location to another. And so at one point, once we moved here to Northwest Montana, I was aging out. And so there were very limited jobs available here, and there was nowhere to go. No upscale, nothing that I could do. And it was getting more and more clerical and more tedious. And I had a lot more experience than that. And I had a lot more ability than that. So again, this was a long time ago, and there were not a lot of options for working at home. There were a lot of scams where you ended up having to pay to work at home, and there was a lot. And so somehow I winnowed through everything and found Working Solutions. And I'm proud to say that I have had 8 different contracts with Working Solutions. Only one of them was a repeat. We know which one that was. And there were some years separating that one from one time to another time, but total was 8. My children, my daughter is all grown up. It's just me and my husband, and cats. Whenever we can, we have a cat. But other than that, my hobby is tennis. I play a lot of tennis, a lot of women's doubles tennis, which I love. And that's the only thing pretty much gets me out of the house. Otherwise, I'm very happy in the house. Oh, and food shopping, of course. And so I live about 10 miles outside of town. So I have to combine everything when I go in. I don't run in every day.
You know
Okay,
what I love is the fact that you brought up about knowing your worth. I mean, that's huge.
Yes.
You have so much to offer, and
Yeah.
you, like you said, you feel like you were being aged out. I love that. Know your worth. That's an awesome little phrase. That's awesome.
Well, the beauty of not being able to, well, I guess it's funny to say this, but if you can't see somebody, you don't form a judgment, or you form a different kind of judgment based on performance. And so that's why this kind of a job is so crucial, because if you look at me, you may not think I have all my marbles, but when I do but when I do the work, I can do the work and, get good reviews or whatever, however it is. But this is just fabulous. It's the best thing that I ever decided to do.
So Tina, we have so much to talk about. So, aging out is not even a thing anymore,
No.
right? We don't age out, we age up. We're doing,
Right.
I think, come on now. And it kind of reminds me of The Voice. Y'all have watched The Voice, right? Where you just are kind of behind the screen, or the chairs are turned, and they don't know what you look like, where you've been. Just know that you do something very, very well. And then when I asked Tina, had she not been at an agent meeting? Now I remember why, because she's in North.
Because I'm too far away. Yeah. It's just not cost effective at all. And I was always sorry about that. And again, as you mentioned, this is a fabulous substitute for it. I mean, I would request that you continue to do this even after you start to do physical meetings again. Maybe not as often, but for those of us who are so remote, we can't make it to one of your luncheons, which I so would love to do, but I can't. Please keep doing something like this.
Will do. And then, Tina, you and Kristen and I are going to have a virtual tennis tournament, because we are all big tennis players.
Oh, great. That'd be great.
We are all big tennis. We love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, I play a lot.
So very good, Tina. Gonna move
Thank you.
on. Christina, you're on the left side of Tina, so that makes kind of logical sense. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you. Hi, Kim. Nice to see you. So I'm Christina M, and I'm in Katy, Texas, which is the suburbs of Houston, and I have been with Working Solutions since 2006. And I've worked for, I don't know, probably about 10 or 12 projects or companies. And most recently, lost my career path. My experience has been always in the travel industry. Began in working for the airlines, and then an emergency travel assistance company, and then decided to have a family, so took 5 years off. And when my son went to kindergarten, that's when I found Working Solutions, and I've never left. And so but with COVID, I've always done travel projects. Every now and then I think I did a telecommunications one, because of the Spanish, but most have been, all of them, I want to say, have been travel related. And so I'm finding my way. And as I told Kristen the other day when we spoke, Working Solutions again is being so wonderful, so gracious, so kind, so patient in trying to find me, I guess, my new career. And I'm a little sad, but I don't know where I'm going to go. But anyway, that's just kind of where I am right now. That's it. I've just been working from home since 2006, and I loved it. I have loved it. I'm just a little lost right now.
Well, I think your sentiment probably resonates with a lot of people, because those who have worked in travel in the past or currently work in travel, it's not a job, it's a lifestyle, and it's actually an incredible passion. And for everybody who is in the travel industry that basically lost a role because of COVID, I think it's just been like shell shock. Unfortunately, for those that have kind of come back into travel, that trickled in, it's been a nightmare, right? You guys have heard everything about what's happening at the airports and on planes, and hour-long waits on reservation systems, and obviously all this bad weather. So I think everybody was so looking forward to getting back into travel, and it's like jumping into the middle of a fire pit. So, yeah.
And then the staffing on top of it. They don't have the staffing to match the people that are traveling, because they said that people that are traveling is almost equal to where it was pre-pandemic now. And they don't have the people to staff and work with them.
Right. That's what I've heard. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Christina. Yes, Christina and I have met several times, so it's good to have her here, and she'll have a lot to add to the conversation.
Yes,
ma'am. We're going to move on to Miss Darcel. I think you had a move last week, right? Oh, you're
Actually,
on
here I am. I'm off mute. Darcel, last initial W. No, I had to go home to finish up some business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Southwest Louisiana, got hit by the hurricane, temporarily in North Louisiana, and then moving to Virginia in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Wow.
She comes with the longest commute too.
Yeah, 4.5 hours. I come from a contact center background, telecommunication, over 10 years. Prior to Working Solutions, I did work for another company as well at home.
Very good. And so do you like the ability to be able to go back and forth? I know you've been displaced, obviously, because of hurricanes, but have you been able to just kind of keep things steady from a job perspective or an income perspective?
Yes, that's been the awesome part, that I could work. As soon as we got out of the hotel, I was like, I got my computer in the trunk. I can sit on the floor and work, and I can take my job with me. So that's the good thing.
Wow. Sit on the floor and work. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got lots to talk about there too, because you're going to have a lot of good things to bring up.
Yeah.
Okay. Lenola. Somebody else I've met before several times. There you go.
Okay. All right. There. Now I've got it off. Okay. Yes. I've actually sitting here counting on my fingers. I've been to 5 different meetings because I went to the one in Arizona, and Christina, we met because I went to the one in Houston. And then I've been to the new office, I think 3 times. Anyway, so I have been on 7 different programs with Working Solutions, and with the travel that got, went away with COVID. I'm kind of working back in that now, but I've done a bunch of other things. I've done a couple of 2 of those programs were short term. One was just 1 week long. One was 1 night long. One was 1 week. One was a couple of months. So anyway, but I've been on 4 long-term things, and currently back into some travel. Lenola B, I forgot the B, and I am just north of Dallas, the Dallas area, in a little town called The Colony. I tell everybody we are not a cult, but that's what The Colony, Texas. I have worked from home. Well, I've been with the Working Solution since October 2016, almost 5 years. I've only done work from home for one other company, and I was just with them a couple of months, and it wasn't horribly fond of it. But it was not. It was a good company, stable company. It's just, it wasn't for me. I am a elementary school teacher, so I did that for several years. I did tutoring. I started substituting, and that wasn't for me either because I'd been out of teaching for 30 years. I went into the corporate world and left there due to taking care of a terminally ill family member. And they wouldn't give me the time off, so I walked. And I never looked back. I've done other things since then. So that's me.
So, Lenola, a couple things. I learned the other day that The Colony is only one of 2 cities, or maybe the only city in the United States with "the" in front of it.
Wow, I've never come across another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so I used to tell people we're not a cult, we're a city. And now I should have patented that, because I see T-shirts out there now that says we're not a cult.
And Lenola, you travel back and forth between different living spaces too, correct? Or you did?
Yeah, well, I go to Arizona a lot, but I have family out there. And I was living with my daughter, or maybe my daughter and her kids were living with me. I'm not sure which, but I moved out and I'm engaged.
Oh, congratulations.
Hey.
So we're looking for, well, we have a home, obviously, I'm in it, but we're looking for something bigger. It's a small home in the colony, and we want to be out in the country, but I got to have good internet, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been a little bit of a challenge, that, and all the people in California trying to come to Texas, they kind of messed it up for us a little bit. So yeah, I was kind of back and forth a little bit with my daughter's house and this house, so for a while, but I'm here full time now. And we haven't set the date yet, but we're trying to figure that out.
Congratulations.
So, congratulations.
And you've actually met him, Kim. He's been to a couple of the meetings with me at the office there in Dallas.
I think you do remember. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, same guy.
Same guy. Yeah. I like that.
We've been together for about 15 years. We just now decided to get married.
No better time than the present.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, Tess. Tess is to the right of you in our last introduction.
Well, hi, I'm Tess. My last initial is T, and I live in Georgia in the Atlanta metropolitan area. I came from corporate and I lost my job due to a merger with another company. I was the HR director at the time, and I'm up in my years also, and I think my actually, whenever I would send out my resume, it made me look a lot older, and I think I was kind of aging out, overqualified for everything. It was just an odd scenario. My sister got sick, so I felt like maybe it was, meant to be, because I needed to take care of her. After she was well, I'm still looking for a job and not finding anything. And one of my best friend's sisters worked for Working Solutions. And she said, it's a great company. And I was like, are you sure? Because I had been researching, but I hadn't run across Working Solutions. And when I started looking, I was pleasantly surprised. I joined August of 2018. So I'm relatively new compared to most everyone else here. But I've been here for 3 years. I'm on 2 programs. I started my second program a year ago, and I'm still on the first program that I started on. Love it immensely. Love the people. We have such a wonderful group of people to work with. And I have just found that I was driving an hour to an hour and a half one way to go to work because I had to cross all the way across Atlanta. And with the loss of gas prices, the wardrobe, the dry cleaning, all of those things, all the cost savings, it's just awesome. It is so awesome to work from home. I don't have children at home anymore. My youngest is in college, and she's not really coming home anymore, but I love it here. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That is so great to hear. Yeah, it's so interesting. I think we need to have like a whole other discussion on ageism and aging out and options, because that theme is so common. And I, as a owner, president of a company, fortunately, it's not something I think about a lot. But I'm up in the years too, or long in the tooth, however they say it. But I didn't think it was such a thing. But it sounds like it's really kind of out there in the marketplace, front and center. It's interesting. I have 2 kids that are freshly out of college, and they're on the opposite spectrum. They're so young, nobody wants to give them a chance. So kind of
right.
That whole sandwich generation. So thank you all. I guess I should probably do a quick little introduction on myself. I'm just kind of sitting here talking like everybody just obviously knows who I am, but that's not the case. 3 of you do, because I've kind of been through this before. For the other 3, it's really a wonderful opportunity to be able to get to meet you, and again, virtually. And my name is Kim Holney. I'll say my last name because I get love letters in the mail. I encourage it. And I founded Working Solutions almost 25 years ago. It'll be 25 in October. So we're going to be celebrating a huge 25th birthday anniversary celebration come October. So marketing has a lot of fun stuff that they have planned for us, and I'm super excited about it. I'm just aging myself as it is, saying 25 years ago, because I founded the company when AOL used to give out CD-ROMs to connect to the internet, and I'm like, and diskettes. I think even diskettes. And when I talk to prospects and clients and customers across the country, I have to kind of hold myself back a little bit because I reference these really old things. And I don't mean to. It just happens because it's part of the history. It's part of the fiber of who we are. And so it was a thing. And really broadband in Lanola, you bring up a really good point, because still broadband in some areas isn't readily available. I'm so glad that Tina in Northwest Montana has that option, but it's really still not available everywhere in the United States, which seems practically impossible to believe. Mm-hmm. But I had started the company when broadband was just coming out and was venturing out on my own. I was working for a company in the Pacific Northwest, and I was pregnant with my first child and kind of going back and forth, and realized that I was commuting, and I realized I could not commute much longer just because it just wasn't going to be possible with a 1-year-old or a baby. And by the time Nick was born, my firstborn, I said, I think he had more frequent flyer miles than most adults do in their lifetime. So I realized I needed to take another look at what I was doing to see if I could do something remotely, so I didn't have to commute back and forth. And in this case, Tess and all those who live like in larger cities, Marie, my commute was from Omaha, Nebraska to Seattle. So it was long. And, getting on a plane and connecting through Minneapolis. And I said, well, let me think about what I could do. And I thinking. And I was in marketing or product management, and I was developing new products. And I said, I think I can do the same thing remotely. I don't have to be on site. So I went to my boss and said, I think I can do this. But at the time, and really up until this past year, employees weren't working remotely. So she said, well, we could contract with you. Maybe we'll create a contract. And I went that route. And just little by little was able to build up a really nice customer base, and McKesson being one of the first ones. And I don't mind saying them either because that was such a long time ago. But it absolutely kind of started a new thing. And we would reach out to clients, and clients would say, yeah, but I'm not really sure that and I wish I had these words, and I probably do still have some emails. I'm not really sure you can train anybody to work remotely, or I'm not really sure that the security is strong enough that we're comfortable with it. Or really, how can I guarantee that the agents are going to be fantastic? And what we found is that all three of those were the exact opposite. We had the strongest professionals that wanted to work with us. They were completely on the up and up, and problems with security were non-existent. And we brought on an education team that actually rivals a lot of corporate in-house education teams. In fact, I'd say they're better, not rival, but better than what they do. And so we took all of those preconceived ideas and turned them upside down, and continued to build on the company as we know it today, which is Working Solutions. And here we sit 25 years later. We miss so much in being able to engage with the agents and engage with the community. I'm just super excited about this platform and what we're going to be doing. And we're keeping it. And I asked Kristen, we need something a little edgy, something that is going to resonate with the rest of the group, because we spend a lot of time talking about what Working Solutions is going to do and plans for the future. Sometimes that just kind of goes in one ear and right out the other. What people really want to understand, they want to be relatable. They want to understand that other people kind of have the same thoughts and viewpoints and same living scenarios as them. So what better to throw out there than let's talk about money, because it's a subject. It's not something everybody feels comfortable talking about or asking questions about. And we just would take a stab at it and see how it goes, because everybody views money a little bit differently. Everybody, I'm sure, on this panel is making money for different reasons. Everybody doesn't have the same goal. Some are making it to put kids through college. Some are making money to pay the rent. Some are making money because they're putting away for the future. Some are making money because they just love what they're doing, and this is part of their profession, and it goes as part of their nest egg. So we thought we would throw that out, and I, have a couple of questions, and I want to keep this very, very conversational. I don't want it to become like a Q&A. So if you have something that you've personally experienced or thought about, let's just talk about it. And then and feel free to ask me questions at any time about anything about how I feel about it or how the company views it or what the company plans to do. Because I will tell you what you want to hear and then some. I'm pretty good at that, pretty good at talking. So
and other agents will want to know as well. And
yeah.
when you share this with them, they'll want to know, because if you have the question, I can guarantee you there's 20 others out there that have it as well.
Right. And so I'm going to start off with what we hear a lot in the news lately. And I have some thoughts and I'll toss them in, but I'll wait to hear everybody else's thought. But, everywhere across the country right now, you hear about a labor shortage, and everybody's got a different opinion as to why there's a labor shortage. I heard a great discussion yesterday from a restaurant owner who's, I think, in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. I don't know if you all saw the same interview, but, and he said, heck, I'm the owner. I'm washing dishes because I can't find anybody to work who wants to wash dishes. He said, not only because they're getting the additional unemployment check, but housing's so dang expensive. And somewhere like Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, that's a heavy vacation area. People who are making the wages that a dishwasher would make can't afford to even live there. And so how do you find the right talent? How do you find the right people to kind of stick through the plan? I want to hear from y'all. What do you think when everybody talks about this labor shortage? What do you think is going on? And do you think it has anything to do with stimulus, unemployment, or the rise in housing? I would love to hear. So anybody who wants to just jump in, I'm glad to hear.
I just have one thing to say about that, and that is that I had no idea until maybe today or very recently that this was a national issue. I actually thought, because we are in a very tourist heavy area, summer tourism in particular, and we are swamped right now with tourists, and everybody is short of labor. And there's some discussion on some Facebook page about this unemployment thing. And I honestly don't know whether that's the issue, because a lot of the places stopped the unemployment. So I don't know if people are still able to collect that much unemployment. But I don't know where everybody went. Where did everybody go that used to be working? In service industry, I have no idea.
Anybody else, Jim?
I know in my former city, we have a major problem. Because I'm going back and forth home. Well, the income is so low there. Minimum wage is $7 and some change.
Wow.
Apartments are now, I was living in a 3-bedroom, $725. That is now $2,000 in that city.
Oh my gosh.
That's happening all over.
There is no way you can work for that amount of money and be able to afford for a place to stay. So I know a lot of people, that's why, they're doing what they can, but most are moving away, but you're still having the problem with those that are there. Well, if I can get unemployment and pay for more, then, that's probably what they're going to do, because you have to make ends meet.
Right.
So, yeah.
I just want to kind of jump in on that one, because, the unemployment money was great. And for a lot of people, that was more than they were making before. Now, one of those people happened to be my daughter. She lost her job. Her job was perfect for her. She loves animals. She got a job at PetSmart. She was They loved her. She was fabulous, but they cut everybody loose except for the management, and management had to do everything. She wasn't making a lot of money, but she loved the job. She made more money on unemployment because of that extra $600 a week. Plus, she was getting some unemployment. So she was only making, a little over 300 after taxes and everything. She was only making a little over 300 a week. With the unemployment money, it was 600. Then plus her regular unemployment, because that was 600 was extra. I told her, I said, don't go back. Why would you go back? Why would anybody? I don't blame anyone. I blame no one for taking it.
Does it have an expiration date? Does the
That's gone. Yes, that's gone. That's over with. And then they came back with 300 a week. And then that went away for a little while, and then it came back, and that is ending as of the 26th of June for Texas. I don't know about any other state. That's for us. So that's over with. So yeah, she's going to have to go back to work. Me personally, because I didn't know what I was going to do when the project I was on got cut, I got on it. I filed. But you can't buy a house on unemployment, so I had to jump off, and thank gosh, there was another program there waiting for me at Working Solutions. And I was able to jump on that. For me, because I know one of the questions we had was, struggles. What's your biggest challenge? For me, it was the program that got deleted or canned or whatever you want to call it. I had worked my way up to making top dollar on it. And I can't quite seem to find one that's as good as that one. I'm thankful for what I have. I'm thankful for the programs I'm on. But I'm making less money, so I have to work more hours to get the same money. And I think that's a similar struggle for everybody. That's just my opinion.
I have to say that the contract I'm on currently now is the best paying contract ever. And they also pay bonus for working extra hours. I never had that before with any of my other contracts. So kudos to whoever got that done, because it's tremendous. It's increased my income a lot.
Okay, so there's so many directions I can take all of this, and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to tackle first, because I don't want to forget any of them. I'm going to stick on the stimulus and unemployment just really quick, and then I'm going to go back to some different levels of pay and the fact that eventually minimum wage is going up to $15 an hour and how all that ties in. And I have a lot of personal experience as well. I'll just mention something too, because I think this is interesting. But it's not so much a thing anymore. I don't know if y'all remember, but they were offering companies what they call PPP loans. I think they're PPP loans, right? And so if your company had been impacted by COVID, you had the option to take out basically a loan that you didn't have to pay back. And we were very fortunate as a company. We didn't need a loan. And I got kind of the back of my hand slapped a couple of times because they said, "Well, you would qualify anyway. You had travel clients, you had this, you had the other." And think of all of these companies literally receiving millions of dollars, and that just goes right into their bank account. They're not going to ever have to pay for that. But I just couldn't bring myself to taking somebody else's money. Because, ultimately I know as a business owner, that money comes right back out. So it's got to get paid back some way, somehow, right?
Right.
So it's been very interesting to see the dynamic. And I mentioned I have the two sons in their 20s, and my two sons got stimulus checks. I'm like, they're living in my house. They're, how does this work out? They're stuffing their bank account with some pretty nice cash, and they have no worries. I mean, they're eating my food. They're living in,
wow,
kitchen and everything. And I just thought, why would that even be a possibility? But I do get it that it's tough, even for companies you have to set parameters on who gets what and who doesn't, and that just seemed to be an impossible thing for them. But I'm curious, for those of y'all, and you, again, all these questions are optional. Just if you received a stimulus check, did you use it for fun? I heard one of my friends went out and bought a bracelet. Did you use it for rent? Did you use it for, and that's stimulus, right? Because they're trying to stimulate the economy. So they want you to buy things or be able to contribute back to the economy. Did anybody buy anything fun, or did it just go into a general account?
Well,
no fun.
For me, we didn't buy anything fun. My hours were cut on my main program I was on. The reason I picked up the second program was because I needed more hours, more pay. And I was working as a resource and as a standard agent on the first client account. And the regular standard agents, the rest of them couldn't get very many hours. So I felt guilty for having both, so I stopped taking the standard hours so there would be more hours for them. And that's when I took the second client. But we had to tighten our belts, and really all of our stimulus money went toward paying bills and so forth. But I was just like you, Kim, in that I had a college age child who's getting this stimulus money. My daughter, the youngest, she's studying to be a teacher. And so she was doing substitute teaching, but then she couldn't teach because of COVID. And so she was getting just so much money from unemployment for that reason. It was incredible how much money she was getting. But that also happened to friends. So back to the unemployment, the stimulus checks were great. I'm sure that the unemployment was so beneficial for many people. Those that I saw that got it were all friends, young children. A couple of my friends couldn't get the unemployment because of some kind of they were contractors for live companies, two of them. And because they were contractors, they had struggles getting unemployment. But I think that I think it's possible that it went on maybe a little too long for some, especially in these states where they were opening up so early and people had opportunity to go back. But I do think so many people were scared that in some ways that's why they kept staying home and accepting the unemployment. But I also have two places here in the county we live in, a restaurant that we go to where they just cannot get enough staff. And the unemployment is supposed to have stopped now. So hopefully that will help people, fill those positions, because I do think it may have some relationship, certainly.
And I wanted to chime in on that as well. Like you, Kim, I, was told by a few people, you can actually, file for unemployment, and also because you're a contractor and self-employed, you can do that PPE loan. But, I thought, I was grateful that I could keep working, even
That's
though
what I thought.
I lost my, career job of in the travel industry. They Working Solutions immediately offered me like 3 or 4 contracts, other projects, and so I went on ahead and accepted, that, and so I worked all the way through, this COVID situation, and I thought, I don't have a need for it. In fact, I have a friend, she's like a high level position, Wells Fargo in Dallas, and she would tell me, I'll do the paperwork for you, Christine. I was like, no, it's okay. I don't need it. Thank God, But anyway, so I was grateful that I could keep working, and that with regards to the stimulus, it went just to an account, right? Because and I have my son is in college, and his stimulus money, we took it. It came to us, and we're paying for his college, right? So, Mom, don't do me this way. I said, yes, son, because we need to pay for you. We're paying for your college, right? So, anyway, so it went to the account that pays for his stuff at the university. So it went to him anyway, But if we left it in his account, God only knows what he would have spent it on, right? So anyway, he doesn't need anything because we, and so, I think we were one of the fortunate ones. I totally agree that it wasn't needed at both the unemployment and the stimulus, because I have friends that were directly impacted, where they lost their jobs and they had no income coming in. My husband works in a hospital, so he worked, all the way through. Also, he was what did they call them? I guess necessary workers or whatever they call them, right?
Essential.
Essential.
Yeah.
So he never stopped working. In fact, he got bonuses and all this other stuff in the hospital, right? So for us, it was a whole different experience. We actually, we're so blessed financially. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is going on. You hear all this stuff and all these people being so financially affected. We were so blessed. On the contrary, there was an opportunity where you could rearrange your retirement account, right? Because they opened up and let you. So we didn't know what was going to happen with the market and what was going on, that we decided, well, let's go ahead and pull some of that out and invest it where we know it's not going to lose, right? Which is property. Real estate never loses, right? So, for us, that was our experience. I think definitely, like someone else, I think it was Tess that said, it went on, the unemployment went on for too long. Here in Houston, I have a friend who is a manager of a restaurant, and she's having to wash dishes. She cannot get people to come in, and it's because they're still paying them more than that they're earning at the restaurants, for these types of jobs.
Right. Well, everybody has a different scenario, and you can't judge anything or anybody. That's not our role. Or it's just so interesting to me to hear from all across the country the different perspectives and how people handled it, what people did, and we don't want to forget that there are 700,000 fewer people in the United States this year as a result of COVID, and I'm sure that probably has a huge impact on it as well, right? That's a lot of people. That is a lot of people when you're looking at the workforce. And I know in the Dallas area specifically, right now unemployment is so low. Pretty much you can get a job if you really want one, but there's, I think, obviously some risk involved. And if you're in the service industry, people just aren't nice right now. And I'm sure you've heard that on your calls and your emails and your chats. People are just rude. And it will be great when we can all get past this and feel good about our lives and our country and our livelihood once again. And I look forward to those days.
It's kind of interesting. I'm sorry, I have to jump in here just for a second. I was at Target during lunch and I ran out to grab just a couple of items. And the woman, there were lines, 10 deep in each register line. And the woman behind me was like, I cannot believe they don't open another register. What is the problem? What is going on here? And I'm like, there's a shortage. A big shortage. Do you not know this?
Yeah.
I found it really interesting that people are not aware, and when I say ignorant, it's not a negative thing. They just don't know. They've been in, they haven't been out. And you go somewhere now and you're like, well, why don't you take reservations? Wouldn't you want to know who's coming? Or, why can't we sit down? There's 8 open tables over there. And it's like, no, there's a shortage of people right now. So I was really shocked at how people didn't know that there was this labor shortage going on.
Well, so you bring up a really great segue, Kristen, because I want to talk about labor arbitrage, which is you get to the point where Target is offering $15 and Walmart across the street offers $15.10, and then Walgreens will offer $15.20. And somebody, a friend of mine in San Francisco sent me a picture of a help wanted sign at Starbucks in downtown San Francisco. Starting wage was $22 an hour.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh my God. And signing bonuses. There are signing bonuses for fast food places where they'll pay you $400 I saw for a Mexican fast food place looking for people to take orders.
So do you guys think that that's a try? So when you talk about the bonuses, because it's something that we've tried as well, because There are obviously some programs that people gravitate towards and other programs that people don't gravitate towards. And we tried a lot of different things with money. As a company, we've kind of watched this over the years. We know we could put as much money out there for a Saturday afternoon, and we'll still have the same test. Will show up every time to take that Saturday. I'm saying that there are people who will always take the weekend hours, and then no matter what type of money you throw out, others just don't want to do it. So, how attractive are bonuses, do you think, psychologically, not just to the working solutions community, but when you see a bonus being thrown out from Walmart, Target, McDonald's, Chipotle, whatever, do you think that's attractive to people? Do you think that is something that it would allow you to decide, hey, I'd rather work for this company because they've got a big bonus out there?
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Darcel.
I know one of the clients I'm working with right now, one of the contracts, we've been getting bonuses, but how can I put it? The clientele is so abrupt, the cursing out,
Oh, wow.
I'd rather not take the money. I'd rather not take. I get chest pains when I work that one.
Oh,
and
dear.
That's why I work less hours with that one. Whereas I have another one, it's a few pennies less. I'd rather work a few more hours with them because of, they're something.
Quality of life and quality of program. Like if you're happy and satisfied on a program, you'd rather take a couple less pennies than this big bonus on a program that's dissatisfying to you or uncomfortable to you. Yeah.
I think the clientele that walks into Walmart and the clientele that walks into Target are not the same. And I think people will consider that, when they're looking at how much more are you going to pay me? 10 cents probably wouldn't do it. Now, some people, may not get that job at Target. They may not be the type of worker that they want, or maybe they've been there and left or something. But I think bonuses are good and valid. The project that I did just 5 days on, and let me tell you, it was not easy because I had to keep my current project going through the whole time and work these hours, and bonuses were thrown out to do these 5 days. It was a blitz. And then if you did an X number of hours, you got a bonus. And if you worked on a particular day, you got a bonus. And if you worked through the weekend, I did all of it because of the bonuses. And it was short term, I guess. But I think bonuses are valid. I think it can change the way that people take a look at a job, too.
Do you agree with Darcel, though, that a likable program, you would gravitate towards a likable program?
Oh,
yeah, with a little less. Okay.
So
definitely.
I work, projects for my language, for Spanish, and those are paid at a premium, right? And but I've noticed that. So personally, even if it pays that much, if it's not something that I'm happy doing, the money doesn't motivate me.
Bonus is different. There's signing bonus, and then there's a bonus pay, like what happens in working solutions. And the way I feel about a contract is I'm going to work the contract around, obviously, my tennis playing. So I need to figure out, what my hours are. And it really won't matter what the bonus is or isn't. I'm going to work the hours that I want to work because of what I need to schedule in my life. So I do that a lot more now. Currently on this particular project, you don't get special bonuses for working weekends or anything like that. Yes, holidays, of course, that's always included, but I never really pay much attention to that. But in the outside world now, those signing bonuses that are being offered, you have to work for 6 months before you get it. And people don't realize that, I don't think, until I don't even know whether they know when they read the fine print that that's what's going to happen. They're not going to hand you the money up front. You have to stay there for a given amount of time, and they may or may not do that.
Right.
Tina, would you say you're opportunistic? So I know you play lots of tennis, but it happens to be a non-tennis playing day, and they say, okay, there's an extra.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. Would you be opportunistic and take that if the time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's your convenience and your flexibility.
Yeah. I'm always scooping up hours when I have the time to do it. Yes.
And if I can jump on there, I think I'll go with both. When you have an offer for a bonus, usually I look at it two ways. It has to be, if I'm working on a project, since I started working with Working Solution, it's kind of built up in me the love of entrepreneurship. So I do a lot of things on the side of Working Solutions, just to make sure that I don't have to go back again on the corporate world. Even though I tried, you try to find that perfect job that can help you balance, but it wasn't not easy. And then I'm like, okay, how about I just create a way for myself? So with God's grace, I'm kind of creating a road for myself where I can balance these two lives together. And when I have an offer for a bonus, I know that in the program that I'm working with Working Solution, that sometimes they throw the bonuses out there. Now, it just depends. If it's a program that I like and I have the time, I'll go for it. But I worked in a company where they would give you bonuses, but because of the environment, because of whatever is going on there, the bonuses doesn't mean anything to you, because you have that pressure of saying, I don't want the money. I want the culture in the company. I want something that resonates with me. And if you have, let's say, something crashes between your family life and the business, and even if the bonuses is higher, you tend to kind of say, maybe I'll wait another time. Next time I'll do it. But at least you get it when you feel comfortable taking it, and you feel like it resonates with the value that you have. So you don't just run and grab the bonus because you want money. For me, it works with the value, the culture, and that's what I can say.
Yeah, Darcel, you're shaking your head too. I see you. Like, yeah, I agree. That was probably what you were talking about. That it's more about having that great. I don't know. It's having that great sense of balance.
I will
really
get
is.
up. I will get up in the middle of the night. I will set an alarm and work to 3 o'clock in the morning if it's a program I like. Like my first program, I love my people. But the other one, no.
I remember one of the program. It was so funny that I felt like I was working like 24 hours because I loved the program. It was a short period program, and they have crazy hours. They were having hours like from like 7 to midnight, and then from 3 a.m. to 7. And I was like, oh, I love this program. I love helping. I just love everything about it. I will work up at 3 a.m. and start working. And I do have some friends overseas, and we kind of talk in the middle of the night because it's day over there, and she'll be calling me, and I'm like, I'm working, don't call me. It is over there. Don't you stop working. And I'm like, when you like something, it doesn't matter the time you're going to do it. But when you don't like something, even if it's 2 hours, those 2 hours seems to be like 2 days. So yeah.
And I think it's really important. I'm glad you brought that up. For me, I think that's what I'm experiencing now. So I need other than the pay, the flexibility is huge for me, and also the challenge. So I've always worked on the more difficult projects, and I've loved that because I took ownership for problems, big stuff, that I had to, and money and stuff that I was responsible for, right? And so now I haven't been able to find, any. They're all like really too easy, and so I'm really sad about that because yeah, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to sit and even do 45 minutes. It's been such a challenge. So I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of where I am. And I have to say goodbye. I told Kristen I have a meeting at 7.
You're
So
fine.
No
thank
problem.
you so much for
Thank
allowing
you
me
for coming.
this time to say, what's going on and how I'm feeling. And so thank you, Ken. You're the best. We just love you. You do such a good job, with this company. So I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Tess, I know you were trying to say something in between there. Is there a point that you want to make?
I was just going to say that as far as, working those weekends or any time there's a special bonus, likability is definitely an issue. It really is about perspective, your work-life balance. And also, whenever you have shortages like we may have had on our programs, because we too find that we're having difficulty finding people sometimes. I think sometimes it's a scenario where people they're working so many hours that sometimes the bonus is not enough, or maybe it was great 3 weeks in a row, but I need a break this one.
Right.
Right.
So I think it is a valuable thing, but it doesn't always work for that reason.
So I'm going to wrap up here and talk a little bit about, our contract structure and pay structure. And, I know Tina's been here a long time. Lenola's been here a long time. And the question we get a lot of times are, why are we not seeing the same increase as we go forward? And how does that whole process work? It's interesting because, as y'all know, we have contracts with companies, and some of those contracts are shorter term and some of those contracts are longer term. We really like longer term contracts because that means we'll keep that client for a longer period of time. But on the other hand, it could come back and hurt us because we've locked into a rate with them for that longer term period, and it's difficult to make changes along the way until you get to the end of the term. And so we're often balancing, do we do a 1-year contract so we have the opportunity to go in and make any rate adjustments, or do we just sacrifice and get a 5-year deal and lock in at a rate? So it's a decision we make each and every time we work with a client, either at the beginning or upon renewal. And we have a lot of renewals actually coming up. And so as we as a company have progressed, we always had a baseline. We're like, we need to target $12 an hour. And we know that worked for many, many years. And then meaning that 12 would be average. We know we would have a lot of people making more than 12 and a lot of people making less than 12, but 12 was our target per average per hour. Now, as Lenola mentioned, we have some highly skilled travel programs that are priced at a higher level for our clients. And so those skills trickle down into the rate of pay or the amount of pay. But Lenola, obviously what you were getting on some of those other programs where that needs that heavy skill might not be comparable to a program that you're on today that doesn't necessarily need that certification or those skills. So there's a lot of balancing that goes on. And my wish in life would be that this is how we start out, that every client would pay the same, no matter what, if you're a working solutions agent, you were getting X. But then you start peppering in clients like Darcel was talking about that aren't too fun to work for. You're like, okay, geez, we got to raise that rate because somehow we've got to get folks attached to that. Or create some type of environment where you can do different things to earn more money, whether it's certifications, whether it's working different hours, whether it's working weekends, or whether that you're taking on more skills. And so we're trying to layer a lot of this complexity in. And I think towards the end of the year, it's part of our goal to start doing that. And we do evaluate each of those accounts to make sure that they're on target or on par for what we consider to be fair for the program. Now, again, don't forget, we've got to loop in some of these others that are longer term contracts, and we've got to decide what to do with that rate. But as the minimum wage goes up to $15 an hour, it's truly kind of our thought as well that we're going to increase that 12 to 15 and move on up. But my question to the group is, do you like knowing, okay, the rate is the rate is the rate, or do you like having the ability to add to that rate by, just like we were talking about, working weekends, gaining different skills, gaining different certifications, working a certain number of hours? Do you like that flexibility, or do you just like knowing the rate is the rate and that you can budget and plan on that rate and it's going to be no more, no less?
I'm going to say something really quick. And one of the things that I was always wanting and didn't really have until now was the option for doing, and not every contract offers this, but the fact that there is chat and email in addition to phone is huge, or it was always very, very important for me because I wanted to be able to do those services as well. And it was not always easy to get a contract that had anything but just phone. So I just want to throw that in as something that I felt was really important. And I'm very, very happy that I currently have that in my current contract. But I would like to see some increase with longevity. If you've been on a contract for 6 months, or if you've been on a contract for a year, that something be written in there that you automatically get some sort of an increase. Just
Tina, how do you feel about pay for performance? Like how you're performing on a program? How do you feel about that part?
Well, obviously I would, if I said no, then, I would be a slacker. On the other hand, I don't.
Question, right?
Well, and on the other hand, it's kind of it's kind of a mixed blessing for me, because when I get my QA scores, they are all over the place. And I don't know, I work on it obviously all the time, but I can be very, very high, and then I can be low because I left out one little thing or something like that. Right. So pay per performance could be part of it, but I don't want to have to rely on that, because I may be okay, but I'm not always here. And I don't want to have the stress of worrying about that.
Fair enough.
And it's not that, I'm not a bad employee. I promise I'm not a bad employee.
I think that is well said, because you want to look into base first of all. What is the base rate?
Exactly.
Because base rate, that's what is helping you budget. Mm-hmm. Whatever comes, like the skills, the performance, those are top up. You're not going to have those every day. So no. I cannot budget based on the performance or the longevity or whatever we can put on top. Those are bonuses. Yeah. That when they come, I'm like, yeah, I have an extra, but I want to budget on the base rate. Even when I'm choosing, I do receive offers here and there, but I will look into the base. Will this give me something that I'm looking for? If it's something that I'm looking for, I will jump on it. If it's something that I'm not feeling comfortable, even though I like the program, it's going to be hard for me to jump on it. So that's my take on that.
Do y'all budget? Do y'all know, like you plan on earning a certain amount each week? Is that kind of how, or is it just variable depending? You have a set number in mind, and so that's what you target.
Yes. When I budget, I kind of look into how many hours do I have to work every week to hit my target. Yeah. So there are times where, with the shortage, you found yourself, you are under the hours that you need. And if on the other side, on what you're doing, you're not really getting something to balance, then it becomes hard. So if you have to put on top of that a low rate, that becomes astonishing.
Good point. Okay, so we're past our time, and we only promised you guys an hour, but I will take, a question or two. If anybody wants to throw one out, I'd be more than happy to answer it as we wrap up.
Sure. I have a question.
Sure.
So why can't people who live in Georgia or North Carolina or any on the list be employed with Working Solutions?
Oh, I was told this question was going to be asked. I actually get this question a lot, so I'm really glad that you did ask it, Tess. It's complicated. When we set out as a company, we selected, I think we have 13 states now, and we're a baby company at like 10, 12, 14, 15 people. Those were the 13 states that our employees were living in, and settled that was going to be all we could handle, because we, for every state, there's a boatload of paperwork that goes along with having one employee. You have to register with the state, you have unemployment, you've got all these other things. And we did not have the staff to be able to handle 50 states worth of paperwork. We didn't think it was worth our time. Now that we're bigger, we still have a very consolidated team, but a lot of times what happens now, especially in the independent contractor realm, if we have an employee in a state, and let's say Georgia in this case, and a contractor in the state, then oftentimes the state will see it as conflicting, even though you're doing two different things. And so it makes it very confusing for the state when we say, this is a contractor, and if those states don't recognize contractors as we're using them in our model, it becomes very contradictory to them, and it then takes more people to go through and have to talk about, okay, this person's a contractor and this person's an employee. So the states that we're in today are all states that actually have a really strong belief in contractors, and they're not blending the two, and they feel like they can tell the difference between the two, and that's where we are today. But Tess, I will tell you, I think with this whole remote work thing where anybody can work anywhere, it's going to be interesting to see, even with these very, very large companies, because now they'll have to determine, is that employee in the state of Arizona or is that employee in the state of Washington? And then one of those entities is going to want to be the tax grab for the unemployment and all of the wage taxes that they'll receive off that person. So they've got to kind of figure it out. Another great example, Kathy Mitri, who's our CFO, her daughter took an internship with a company out of New York. The intention was originally that she was going to be in New York, and with COVID, her daughter never left Texas and is taking that internship in Texas. But her daughter is paying New York City taxes and New York State taxes, has never even stepped foot in the state of New York, and is in Texas. So I think that some of this will start to unravel a bit, and we'll have a clearer definition, because I'm from Georgia. For those of you that don't, I'm from Georgia. I grew up in Georgia. I'm a huge Georgia Bulldog fan. I would love to hire in Georgia and North Carolina, because we have some amazing people in North Carolina and Florida. I mean, we do hire in Florida, by the way. But it just is that the regulation is so, it's either this way or that way. It's black or white for them. There's no gray area, and we feel that we create a gray area and want that to be uncovered. There is, I'm probably boring you with this, but the Fair Labor Standards Act was enacted in 1934. And so all of the employment laws that we work off today as a country were the employment laws that were established in 1934. And if you think back in 1934, those were factory workers. Those were people who were, a lot of times abused in the workplace, the sweatshops and some of those others. And so they were laws that were serving a purpose then to protect the worker. But unfortunately, they read by the letter of the law today, and it doesn't necessarily apply in today's world. So I am certainly hoping in the next 3 to 4 years, we'll see some new regulation coming out that will really help us make that differentiation. And then certainly I would love to, it'd only be an advantage for us if we could hire employees from all 50 states. So it's a long answer to your very short question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we have any outlook for some new opportunities coming our direction?
That's another good one too. Yes, I don't know if it gets down to the agent community, but we have been without a senior sales leader since May. And I am very excited that I get to step right into that role, and I get to see what's going on and what's in the pipeline and talk to prospects. I haven't talked to prospects in a very long time. And I will tell you that it's a nice, robust pipeline. What's really crazy and ironic is that it all seems to want to come in October, November, December. Like, that's when they all want to onboard. And we're like, please, somebody just start in August so we can separate this out a bit. But yes, there are some, and I will say the ones that are in the pipeline, Lanola, are far different than any of the programs that we have on our plate today. It's a variety. It's some things. There's some things in education that I hadn't seen before. There's a little travel one that's sitting out there. There's some federal government contract work.
Travel, yay!
Yeah. So we'll fingers crossed, and my team knows that it's never done until it's done. And so I always hate saying it until somebody has, and I am the last final signing person on that contract, and I know it's a done deal. So yes, there are some things in the pipeline, and it's been a lot of fun kind of re-engaging myself into that process, since it has been probably a good 10 or 15 years since I've done so.
Well, if I could, I'd like to also say, something that was said about us, the Working Solutions family, when COVID hit, was we were already set for this. Most of us, now some of us did lose what we were doing because things quit, things went away, but for the most part, we didn't skip a beat. We were already working from home. All these other companies had to quickly outfit their employees with laptops and figure out internet. And, so I've said it is forever going to be changed. I think some of the big companies have found out their employees can work from home, and they do work, and they will still continue to work. Some probably don't like it, but I've been doing it for almost a little over 5 years now, and I don't really want to go back to the other way. So I think we've been set for this for a long time. We already, as a family, as the Working Solutions family, we were already doing this, and we just kind of showed them how it's done. So I think there probably could be a lot of opportunities there for all of us.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a huge shift in the future on what happens, because all of these big corporate companies are inviting their employees back, and they're like, wait, no, I was doing fine working at home. Why do you want me back? Well, this company wants me back, so I'm going to go over there and work from home. So it's interesting. It'll be very interesting.
So true. And I think we still have an advantage. We thought about that. Do we lose our edge because now we're just doing what everybody else has figured out how to do? And I said, absolutely not. The things that we really are keyed in on are on demand. We've talked a lot about that, where we're going to tell our clients we can be there when you need us and how quickly you need us. And the second aspect of that is the fact that if you work for a company that works from home and as an employee, if you will, you're still going to have to layer in a shift, whether it's a 4-hour shift, an 8-hour shift. And a lot of times they're going to tell you what that shift is versus allowing you to pick your shifts or pick and choose. I want to work an hour here and an hour there. So we are so hoping that our entire community sticks with us, even though the whole world is opening up virtual, because we feel like we're so much more than just a virtual company. We are a strong community, and we really care about truly the group of y'all out there. And Lanola, thank you for that. I mean, you don't know how much heartburn we had when we found out clients were losing all their volume due to COVID, because we're sitting in senior leadership meetings saying, how can we quickly get this group? And you'll find that anytime a client goes away, how can we get this group onto something else quickly so they don't lose that source of income? And that's just who we are and what we've done for so many years. And I think the whole team for working their butts off to make sure that goes very smoothly and that everybody stays as fluid as possible.
And we all appreciated it too.
Well,
absolutely.
We sure did.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that. Well, you guys have been a dream to speak with. This is a lot of fun. I'm so glad that you said you really like this forum, especially you, Tina, whom I'm known for so many years virtually, but never actually gotten to speak with. So this works out great. And I hope that we'll have many more topics to come. I know the whole ageism thing sounds like a really great topic that we can address, and you probably all could add a little something in there. I like the idea about wardrobe, what truly would like to have to not really have a wardrobe or expenses. That's kind of fun as well. But thank you all so much for helping out. And
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you.
Guys, I really
Thank
appreciate
you for inviting.
and everything.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good weekend. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.